Hello. Today is today. What should I do here today at PNFT? Wash Eric and put those wheels on it. Find a home for all this stuff I've acquired. Look, drive shafts. Spend all day talking about Nigel. Fit this 75 bonnet onto this 75 car. There's a little gift for the magpie. Ready to watch this man in all of his complete uselessness, trying to take the bonnet off a Rover 75 all by himself. Simply 13mm spanner. A ratchet spanner indeed is all that's needed to undo the 4 13mm headed bolts, which as you can see here he's struggling with because he's lost his ratchet spanner and he's going to have to try and work with one that hasn't got a ratchet. Unless he can somehow borrow one from the garage next door, he's going to be doing this for a very long time. I'm not quite ready to close the bonnet down and make sure it all lines up properly because in my absence of taking careness, I went and forgot something. The catch itself. You see, I fit a slam panel that didn't have a catch on it and I didn't even notice. So now I've got to see if I can fit this whilst the slam panel is in place. Otherwise I've got to take it off, which I don't really want to have to do. Can I get that through that gap there? So it will fit there. That was a rather costly mistake because there is no chance whatsoever of getting that through there. So that means I've got to take back off the bumper and the crash bar and the slam panel and the headlamps. Now, I've just done a little experiment where just about managed to feed that through the hole in the slam panel there, which means that if I take off this horn, there's a possibility I might just about be able to do it without taking everything off, which would be handy. So I'm back to this position again. Now I might be able to just move that forward slightly and get my hand in there, but I might have to just take the whole thing off. We'll see. And now this little clip is especially for Dick Dastardly. Well, there we go, I've fitted it, but what an unnecessary palaver that was. There we go, that's back together again. But it's not going to be as simple as just sticking that bumper back on. I need to make sure things line up with the bonnet and it does actually open when I ask it to do. And then there's another thing, that headlamp, that could do with being polished. That would be easier whilst the bumper is off. And just one more thing. Somehow the horn has stopped working. Just now. As you can see, the horns are very easy to get to if the front bumper is off. And that means it's a good idea to leave it off until I resolve that first. Before I do anything else, I need to close this bonnet, make sure it lines up. Well, it's not too bad. It's not perfect. Now I need to make sure it will actually open again. It won't. I could do with some more problems, you see. I just knew it wouldn't open again. I don't know why, I just thought there's a lot of banging next door in the garage that's closed. These 75s are known for bonnet cable issues due to little junction box that they have about there where it can fall off and it's all just baggy then, so you have to kind of cable tie it down. But somebody's already cable tied it in place, and that means that something's gone adrift while I've been fitting this and I haven't noticed. Anyway, with the front bumper off, you should be able to get to the actual cable, and I can, and I'm pulling it and nothing's happening. If I take out the screen washer bottle, I might have a bit better access. Oh, come to think of it, I think that's what I did before when I had one that did exactly the same thing. I took out the arch liner and I couldn't get to it, so I took that off and then I could get to it. So that's what I'm going to do. Here we go. You'll notice there's two bottles over there of screen wash, which I thought if I have to take it off, I don't want to waste the screen wash. Might seem a bit stingy of me. I mean, how much is it? It doesn't matter. The point is, why waste it? So what I need is like a thing with a sharp hook that I can stick up there and just cut through the cable tie. But I don't have one of those, but could I make one? Well, I have a slightly broken screwdriver there. Perhaps I could do something with that. I have finally released the cable tie with my special bent screwdriver and a pair of cutters. And it's up there, so I've just got to try and pull it out now. Whoever it was that put that cable tie in there knows what they're doing. Maybe there are some people that are cable tie specialists that can do anything with a cable tie. One thing is for sure, I do not make these videos to show you how easy it is to do these kind of jobs. And there, it's given me another problem because I've got access to both cables, pulled them quite hard, and nothing, still not releasing. So there's, yes, well, there may be an issue with the actual popper things. So now it's looking like the only solution is going to be to release the slam panel again as best as I can from the bottom and pull it out. Oh gosh, what a terrible idea. Something was here. Ah, hang on. What about the horns? Could I get to them from there? Let's do that. Well, I've pulled that through there this time, and I've yanked on that even with a pair of pliers, and it's still not releasing. So that must mean there is a problem with the actual catch thing, which is great because it means I can't really get it undone. What am I going to do now? Besides getting the old angle grinder out and starting to cut through the slam panel. Let's have a think. Have a think, man. Possibility I can undo the catch itself, or where the bonnet bolts on just there, maybe I could take those off. Now we have another slight change of plan, direction, etc, etc. Allegro man is on his way over. That means that the transit face there needs to be accessible so he can get underneath it and have a good gander. He might look and think, oh no, oh, I'm not doing that. No, get somebody else to do it. He might say that. Or he might not. He might say, oh, that looks like a lovely challenge. I do like a challenge, I do. So it's going to be one or the other. Let's hope it's the latter. Well, that's annoying. I drove the truck up the ramp, and as I carried on going, it just pushed the ramp back out again. As the ramps are slipping out, I'm having to jack it up so I can get the ramps underneath. With the jack, 2 big blocks of wood for the clearance, of course. I think that's about as high as it's going to go. Allegro man, his Volvo, ho 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 ho. So, has today been a good day, or has it been a bad day? Well, it's kind of a mixture of both, really, because I'm obviously going home quite late, which I'm not allowed to do, and that's because Allegro man has been around having a look at transit face. I did have visions of Graham Tinkerbell Nutt's garden, having pictures taken of it today to stick on Facebook to show off basically about how well I've done at I've taken this crashed car and turned it into a non-crashed car. Jigga-dum-bom, jisty-gun-dom, hickey-dan-dom-banga, hutta-dunga, haka-taka-homba, hutta-ding-dol. Hurrah! Sunday, my favourite day of the week for coming to work. I come down here and leisurely wash the car and just do various little jobs that I really enjoy doing. And by crikey, this thing really does need a wash. But, yes, I cannot leave this, can I? I have to get this thing back together. And I still have the problem, of course, of the bonnet not being able to open, even though I can pull the cables. So the actual thing inside there that opens up is not opening up. It's seized. That could well be the result of the slam panel being left outside, and I didn't think to check it. So I've got nobody to blame but myself. How can I possibly blame anyone but myself anyway in this situation? As much as I dislike that Ryland bloke from the Cinch adverts, I cannot begin to blame him for this because it isn't his fault. Yeah. Also, should I respray Trevor the trolley? Yellow or something like that, or pink. What do you reckon? So it looks like what I need to do is replace these things. Those two are fine, but the ones in there probably aren't. And that means I'm going to have to get the bonnet off, or get the bonnet undone with the two little thingies there. It could be tricky, but I've got to give it a go. Yep, that doesn't fit in there. There we go. Open. So as soon as I slacken this off, it popped up, which means that it was slightly misaligned somewhere. So that works. That's good. Oh, this one on the other hand doesn't really appear to work too well. So half good, half not so good, because it still means I've got to remove the slam panel again just so I can replace that. Let's go. What? We have two of these on the bonnet, and they are adjustable both that way and that way, you know. So as you can see, if I move that a bit there, I haven't tightened it up too much, and that's for a good reason. If I now lower this down and it lines up exactly right, I can tighten them up. But what I need to do is lower them down, just drop the bonnet on and tighten them up there. That'd be the answer, wouldn't it? That's logic for you. So, bonnet dropped down, cables pulled successfully, and yeah, it's stuck again. This car really likes to play games with me, doesn't it? Right, that looks like I've figured that out now. What I need to do now is put the cables back together and feed them around where they should go, and cable tie it back to the inner wing, and then try it from the inside of the car. And if it works, then I can start putting it back together. And if it doesn't, then it's just as well it's not together at the moment. Having the headlamp out and the washer bottle out certainly gives me a better chance of fixing it. Yesterday's video contained the song Pingu Concord, and it's been stuck in my head all day so far. So I'm glad I'm making more catchy tunes for your annoyance. Oh, mine. Pingu Concord, Pingu Concord, Pingu Concord, Pingu Concord. Bonnet back open again, and another attempt to follow. All back together again. Closed. Right, okay, start again. when I first put that back together, it worked. It worked from the pull from inside the car. But it has to work more than once. It has to work every time. Oh, is there a problem with the cable? There is the cable. It's got a slight kink in it there, but that's not enough to cause a problem. The old junction, that slides it along there and then pulls the other two cables, and that should release the bonnet. That clips into the actual body there. Just see, that's a bit of a stretch. Okay, let's try it again. Oh. That time it worked. This so-called quick job that I've got here has given me a few problems, and now I'm glad that I didn't take on this as a job, because Peter, the chap who owned this car, did ask me if I would fix it. He'd pay me to fix it, and I said yeah. And obviously I didn't know I was going to get problems like this, which I can do in my own time. Anyway, time's just disappeared so quickly, and I've got to go back home again. I was hoping this particular episode would have been finished in this episode, but it hasn't, as you can see, and I can't just hang on until I've finished. I did that yesterday, so I can't really do it again today. Now, you see Nigel there. Get used to not seeing Nigel for a bit, because he's going away. Yep, he's going on a holiday. Strange, eh? He's going to be going on a holiday for a month, so he won't be in the yard for you to see, or for me to see either. The simple reason is that I haven't got the room. I've got to get some stuff out of the way, because all that's happening at the moment is more cars coming in, and I don't want to turn down cars coming in. I want to accept them. I want to say, yes, I have room at the PNI for you, so come on in. Nigel can take a back seat somewhere else for a while. I shall also be doing a lot more walking to work, so I can leave the car at home, so I'm not taking up space in the yard. That really does sound daft, doesn't it? But that's what's going to happen. And thank you for watching today, and I'll see you next time. One last thing. As I have finished my video, I put on the radio 2, but it's Sunday, and so I knew that would be a mistake, but it didn't stop me from turning the volume up and hearing probably Elaine Page or somebody like that likes all this kind of whatever it is that you call it. And I've got this question: is it possible for an introvert to like cabaret music or to like Rylan? Because I can't see it's possible. I would say the same thing about football, but you know, I have met quite a few shy people that like football. Not many. But yeah, is it possible? Can you like all of this overly excitable music that's only any good, presumably, if you're singing along to it at the top of your voice? Otherwise, you just think this is awful, without being an extrovert. Because introverts simply don't do that. Or do they?